I started gaining weight around the midsection, the visceral fat, and then the hot flashes. Oh my gosh.
Welcome to Midlife with Orchid. Let's explore the nuance and the courageous moments of midlife. Let's share stories, reflection, insight, and conversation over coffee, where life's rhythms, revelations, and everyday courage can be witnessed and honored. This is Orchid, your host and storyteller.
It's been about a year now since I noticed a change, or I should say, since a change that is hard for me to ignore, that I've had to make changes to my lifestyle, changes in the way that I'm perceiving things or how I am engaging with things in my life because of this P word, perimenopause. So it's been about a year now since I noticed the change, and the change was subtle. The change was subtle. Although I was informed, thank goodness, I was informed about perimenopause, I would say a couple years prior to a year ago when I experienced the change. But when I learned about perimenopause, I was also so hyped about fasting that I noticed so much change that was beneficial on the onset when I was fasting over 24 hours to even I've done a 5-day fast. But real quickly did the fasting backfire on me. And then slowly with perimenopause, the fasting did not help me. Instead, I would say, sped up the onset of me gaining weight. So I recognized that I was for sure, without a doubt, in perimenopause when the change that was most noticeable to me was the changes in my sleep. Prior to a year ago, I have a good baseline data set that dated for a good 2 to 3 years, both my cycle, my menstrual cycle, as well as how good is my sleeping ritual and habit and regimen. I'm someone who sleeps on the dot at the right time. I have a ritual prior to actually sleeping. So like my habit around sleep was really healthy. I sleep and wake up at the same time, and naturally my body wakes up. I don't use an alarm because I've learned how alarm is not even really healthy for the brain if the brain is waking up that quickly. But this episode on the podcast is not about sleep. But sleep was one of the key markers that I knew I must be in perimenopause. Along with sleep, the changes to my sleep, where I am waking up in the middle of the night and I had trouble falling back to sleep. I also started noticing my cycle became irregular. As I've mentioned, I have a good 2 to 3 years of data set where my baseline, I knew it's like my cycle is so regular. I know when I'm about to get it. It's like clockwork when it comes to my sleep and my cycle. But then also the weight gain, I started gaining weight around the midsection, the visceral fat. And then the hot flashes. Oh my gosh. It's one thing hearing about it, learning about it in my head. It's another having the experience of what that is. Every 5 minutes, it's at least for me, my experience for a good 15 minutes, it's like on and off. I will get hot, I would get cold, and it's like I would put my blanket, I will remove it. And I think that's part of what was keeping me up at night. And then during the day, it's also was the brain fog. And it was hard for me to even determine that I was in perimenopause because I had started a new job as well. It's like similar timeline. So it's like, is it the new job or is something else underneath layered that's happening in the background that I need to focus and pay attention to? So that was about a year ago when it started. And then a couple of years ago, because I was learning about perimenopause, I went ahead and I went for an assessment, and it's called Menopause Perimenopause Assessment Test, where it measures 5 key hormones level just to see if you are indeed entering in or in perimenopause already. But I've also learned that you can't really measure, because even if you're not in perimenopause, it fluctuates. Nonetheless, the result from that did not really identify as that I am in perimenopause. So that's off the table then. Actually, the other symptoms I've gotten was I was having joint pains, which I also wasn't sure, once again, if I'm perimenopause, because I haven't been working out. So it's I'm which one is it? So I've really had to make a huge change in my lifestyle with my diet, my eating window. I have stopped fasting. I began to pick up exercise again and just be more active, which when I started strength training again, all the joint pains had been removed. I started doing jump training, learning that it's important for my bone health. So I was doing jump rope, and then I was also taking supplements. What's the most helpful for me, I've recognized since I've been taking it for about a couple of years now, is creatine. I'm following Dr. Stacy Sims. Her content has really helped me in the last couple of years. So creatine being really helpful with women in perimenopause, and not just in perimenopause, but as we age. Good for many things like bone health, the recovery, but also being able to do that extra push when stress loads, cognitive or physical. And then I also attempted to try magnesium and tart cherry juice, but I did not see much of a support or changes. At least my body wasn't really responding to it in a way that's meaningful, I guess. And then I also changed my sheets, and I started using bamboo sheets to help with the cooling. Now, symptoms is going to vary for everyone. You may not get the symptoms, but when you get the symptoms, it varies on when you get them as well and the intensity of it. But I think that it's really important, at least for me in hindsight, realizing how important it is to be well informed and prepare yourself, not so you're bracing for impact, but so that you can transition through this during perimenopause as you move towards menopause and the cycle stops, the menstrual cycle. But most importantly, that we are aging well, we are aging gracefully. On the web, Women's Healthcare Associate, they have an article about 34 symptoms of perimenopause and menopause. We can go through some of this real quickly, but you can also search them on the web. That's always been my advice, is to do your own research, because I'm sharing personal stories and experiences, but it's going to be subjective, and it varies for everyone. But the neuroendocrine symptoms of perimenopause is change in mood, irritability, insomnia, difficulty concentrating, brain fog, anxiety, depression, panic attacks are just some of the symptoms that was listed here. Once again, this is at Women's Healthcare Associates. And then the physical symptoms of perimenopause is night sweats, hot flashes, irregular periods, breast tenderness, headaches, weight gain, bloating, even digestive problems, and then the joint pain. And then there's a few more in the list. It's a long list. So I hope this was helpful. If any of those resonate for you, to really look into how you can best support yourself in the transition. I do believe that we can enter into, Dr. Stacy Sims talks about perimenopause is the other end of puberty. But we can support ourselves during this transition. And once again, we don't have to brace ourselves through that. But for me, the supplement of creatine has been so helpful, especially with the brain fog and also the recovery. And I'm to a point now, a year later, where I'm still in perimenopause. I'm still getting my period, but I feel like my body has adapted. The hot flashes has definitely decreased, and lately in the last 2-3 weeks I've realized and that recognized that I'm sleeping better as well. The other thing, caveat to this, my personal nuance is that I'm highly sensitive, so it's like it intensifies the experiences for me, and it may not for you, or vice versa. But my goodness, one of the things I've learned with perimenopause is how much I value and appreciate this unique experience called womanhood. And my desire and my hope is that you as well would see how beautiful you are and this unique experience. What a gift it is to be a woman. Peace and abundance to you.